I got a lot of stuff on my mind that I wanted to read to y'all because it's some stuff that really, really raked my nerves. And I went off a little bit about it on television this morning. I'm gonna get on it again. Because to me, you can love or hate me or anybody else. As long as you stand on what you believe and you're honest and open about it, it's cool. It's the hypocrisy that really, really gets to me. And I bring that up because it's been on my mind since I was talking about LIV Golf's merger with the PGA yesterday. See, it's not just about golf anymore. Just like Lionel Messi coming here as an elite superstar in the sport of soccer, which they call football in Europe, which is why he was alluding to a different kind of football here in the States, because football here in America is about the National Football League. It ain't about soccer. It damn sure ain't the MLS. But I'm going to tell y'all something right now. Hypocrisy is a transcendent word. It knows no specific genre. It knows no specific race, color, or creed. It knows no limitations. And when I think about hypocrisy, I was thinking about LIV Golf and the PGA, and everybody's getting on Jay Monahan, the commissioner of the PGA, because of the flaming hypocrite that he was. The same guy that was talking about banning players, that was suspending players, that wanted nothing to do with players, that departed from the PGA to go and play for LIV Golf, even though they were making more money and playing less and not being run into the ground in the process. He still bitterly disputed their desires to go elsewhere. So much so that he went up to Capitol Hill and tried to talk about the human rights violations that Saudi Arabia as a government was committing, and how the United States shouldn't allow them to infiltrate the proceedings and therefore develop their own golf league that would compromise the successes of the PGA. This is that same guy, Jay Monahan, the PGA commissioner, that got Tiger Woods to side with him, that got Rory McIlroy to side with him, that talked like that talked about Brooks Koepka and Dustin Johnson and them like dogs. That man, role reversed, and like a thief in the night did a deal to merge the PGA with LIV Golf. And I don't blame him one bit. I know he's a flaming hypocrite. I know that some of the golfers are looking at him like he's straight garbage right now, and damn it, he might deserve it. But it doesn't mean that he made the wrong decision. It means he made the right decision in this particular equation, because here is the reality. We don't want to hear a damn thing from Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods got a stake in the Golf Channel. He's got a connection business-wide to the PGA. We don't want to hear about him from him like he's some objective observer or he's some patriot. We don't want to hear that nonsense from Tiger Woods. I don't know enough about Rory McIlroy and some of the things that he said, other than he still can't stand them and wish they'd disappear. But the bottom line is, if you want to play golf, you're going to have to live with this marriage. The Public Investment Fund of the Saudi Arabians, run by the Crown Prince, is worth over $730 billion. They threw at least $2 billion into LIV Golf. There was so much money here, you can't avoid it. And what really, really rakes my nerves was the hypocrisy of it all. I saw statements from congressional figures, one from Oregon, another from Connecticut, talking smack about the PGA's merger with Saudi Arabia, LIV Golf. The nerve that a government official from the United States of America would open their mouths and speak out against the PGA. Are you kidding me? I got notes here, guys. You got to keep receipts for some of this stuff, okay? And I'm putting on my glasses again because I want to make sure I read it correctly. I don't want to sit up there and have my vision fogged up or whatever the case may be. I want y'all to understand something, because I got some notes here for you, all right? First of all, from a business perspective for golf, in 2023, the PGA Championship ratings were down 14% year over year and were a 15-year low for CBS television. The 2.6 rating for the exciting final round was the lowest for final round coverage in at least 42 years. Yes, the Masters got their numbers. They had a good telecast, okay? All right, it was the most watched golf telecast in 5 years. I'm talking about the final round of this year's Masters, all right? But the reality is that the PGA championship, those ratings were what they were. I understand people that's going to have a problem with the fact that the Saudis are the sole investors. They have right of first refusal for everything. You can't do anything with the PGA unless you go through Saudi Arabia in order to do it, because that's what they did. That's the investment that they made. Why did the PGA allow that? Because they wanted the money. You want to say they sold out? I'm sorry, who's not selling out? Who's not selling out? I sit up there, I'm looking at these numbers right here. Tiger, Rory, and other golfers who spurned LIV's offers. Tiger reportedly turned down $800 million, so he missed out on a huge payday. Though no one knows if Phil Mickelson, Brooks, Dustin Johnson, Cameron Smith, Bryson DeChambeau, and the other LIV golfers will receive all of their guaranteed money with the merger. We don't know the answer to those questions. Who cares at this particular point? Because this is the thing that we have to pay attention to. I just looked this up, and I got all of this information myself. Let me share it with y'all so you can talk about the hypocrisy. This is when I bring in the government. This is when I bring in these damn politicians. This is when I bring in the duplicitous ways that they do things sometimes. Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund snapped up stakes worth at least $7.7 billion in the United States and European blue chip companies during the first 3 months of this year. The investments include stakes in Boeing, Disney, Bank of America, Facebook, Marriott, Pfizer, Starbucks. Recent data on U.S. Saudi Arabia trade data. As recently as 2019, the United States goods and services traded with Saudi Arabia totaled an estimated $38.7 billion. Exports were $24.9 billion. Imports were $14.9 billion for a trade surplus of $9 billion. Saudi Arabia was listed as our 27th largest goods trading partner as recently as 2019. Prominent U.S. companies that do business with Saudi Arabia. Are you ready? AT&T, Bank of America, Chase Manhattan Bank, Chevron, Sigma, Citicorp, Coca-Cola, Exxon, Ford Motor Company, General Electric, IBM, JP Morgan, Motorola, Pepsi Cola, Pfizer, Procter & Gamble, Shell, Texaco. And by the way, the Public Investment Fund is the sovereign wealth fund of Saudi Arabia, like I just told you. And I just told you they are one and the same. It's a $730 million fund that manages roughly $730 billion fund that manages a roughly $35 billion portfolio of U.S. equities, according to Bloomberg. For the record, I have no problem with any of these businesses. If LIV Golf had called me because it was LIV basketball and they wanted to talk about doing business, I would have considered it. If the United States of America as a government can do business with Saudi Arabia, with a crown prince that allegedly killed the journalist Khashoggi a few years back, if the president can go over there and give him a fist bump, if the government can do business with them, if a multitude of U.S. corporations can do business with them, what's wrong with the individual golfer? What the hell is wrong with y'all? This is the hypocrisy that I'm talking about that makes no sense. This is the hypocrisy that's going on in the United States of America as we speak. We live in a society where we will sit up there and by the way, it's transcendent color. You used to just reserve this kind of double standard for black folks in the world of athletics. So on a good side, it's nice to see you bringing other ethnicities to the party when you're pointing the finger. And whether it's Lord Rory McIlroy with the PGA or Brooks Koepka with LIV Golf, it's nice to see that it ain't a separate rules for folks, but it's still hypocritical. Golf is a business, just like any of those businesses I mentioned. I have no problem with doing business with them. But if I did have a problem with golf doing business with them, I would have a problem with all of those other businesses doing business with Saudi Arabia. I would have a problem with our government doing business with Saudi Arabia. Do you want your oil? I'm looking here. I see Shell. I see Texaco. I see Chevron. You want your oil, don't you? You want some gas, don't you? It's amazing, the hypocrisy that we put on display. This is our problem. It's the lack of consistency. We got people in Capitol Hill on their high horses actually trying to hold the PGA accountable and calling them hypocrites while you do business with the Saudi Arabian government. Well, then why are you doing business with them? What's good for you can't be good for us? And it transcends everything. When we talk about stuff like universal health care and we got politicians that are opposed to it, this is why the American people ask, well, what is your health care coverage? Because if you're willing to deny it to the American citizens, are you willing to deny it to yourself? There are perks that you receive. Well, why do American people complain about that? Because are you willing to allow them to receive the same perks you potentially receive? This is what I'm talking about. This is the hypocrisy that rakes this nation. We got to literally, I'm on the air last night with Sean Hannity on Fox News. And this dude, and y'all know I'm cool with him. I don't hide it. He's been a guest on here before. He'll be back again. Just like I'm going to have Democrats like Chris Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo as well, and other Democrats who will be here again. I'll get into all of that. But he's going off about Chris Christie and some of his transgressions and just ignoring what Trump did. Like tens of millions of people ignore what Trump did. But Colin Kaepernick took a knee, and that's a problem. LeBron James is still doing business, whether it's with China or somebody else. That's a problem. Every time we turn around, y'all look for every excuse to hold somebody in the sports world, in particular athletes, more accountable for playing a sport than you're willing to hold folks accountable who have dominion over our lives as politicians. There is not a professional golfer, a professional basketball player, a professional football player that influences immigration policy, health care, the economy, immigration. None of them are doing that. None of them. But the PGA decides we don't want to sink into the toilet financially. So we're going to do business with the Saudi Arabians and get a piece of that $2 billion pot that they've got, which is only going to elevate the profile and fatten the coffers of the sport of golf worldwide. And they're the ones who should be ashamed of themselves. This is the bullshit. This is our problem. That's why I titled this show Hypocrisy Reigns. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. So many of you out there cease to amaze me. Politicians, USA Today, Washington Post, various websites, radio pundits, and all of this other stuff, TV commentators. Everybody's up in arms. But business as usual has been going on with our government and corporate America with the Saudis for years. You never said a word. You never said a word. I give it to you. Y'all are something else. I swear. Y'all are something else.